it's me, Camila Rose, and welcome back to another video. We're doing books. We're doing books because I finished some books, y'all. We're doing my wrap-up for August. This is not going to be all the books I read, because to be honest with y'all, I don't remember all the books I read. We're doing much better in September. I'm going to track better in September. Let's get started. So we did Nikki, Marmery with Lilith. There is text that says that Lilith was made with Adam, and then Lilith did not want to lay underneath Adam, and so she was banished and sent away, and then they made Eve from Adam's rib. And so this just tells a story about like what could have happened, what might that have looked like, what was her purpose. It's pretty interesting. It goes through all the way till you get to Mary Magdalene. I think her interpretation of Mary Magdalene was also very interesting. I feel like sometimes Mary Magdalene gets the like Mary, mother of Jesus treatment, where she becomes this like celestial goddess, woman, feminine, all that other stuff. Here she's a little grungy, she's a little like off, she's a little like, ooh girl, you all right? You know, but I appreciated that because I was interpret this in a different way. And so it just goes across time, from the time when Lilith would have been created to Eve, to like Cain and Abel, to with the angels, with God, with Ashira, the feminine aspect of God. So it's just a really fun read, fun text. I had a good time. I liked it. But I always find them to be entertaining. I don't take them super seriously. I don't see them as like a religious text or anything like that. Like, it is fiction. It is a fun historical retelling, fictional, filling in the gaps, what could have happened, and let's have fun with it. And I really enjoyed it. So if you like those types of books, you're into Lilith, you're into very dark goddess stuff, dark feminine stuff, this might be a good text for you. Have some fun with it. I also finished, y'all, the book that has been plaguing me, The Honey Witch. The Honey Witch by Sidney J. Shields. I finished it. I started this because I was like, ooh, this sounds so fun. I love witchcraft books. I love books about witches, all the good stuff. It was summertime, or I think it was spring when I got this. Woo. But, you know, it was summertime. I was like, this is such the right vibes. I'm into it. I had such a difficult time getting through the beginning of this book. Then I thought she was going to be with this man, and I was just really not feeling it. But then I found out she was a lesbian. I was like, oh, I'm into it. Okay, give me something different. Give me something new. Give me something fun. We get Marigold Claude here. She is the second born, I believe. Might be the youngest. She, at the very beginning, you know, she is being courted. She was dating this one guy. He leaves her to go and be with this other lady. She feels, you know, humiliated while she's at this court. But she has this ritual that she does where she goes out to this field, and the field turns like it is just filled up with the moon, so it's like a full moon time, and then she has this spirit, this blue light that comes and visits her. And then she finds out, she goes home, her mother's there, her grandmother's there. Her mother and her grandmother have not been speaking because her grandmother is this witch of this place called Innisfree, and the mother was supposed to take her spot, but they have a curse placed upon their family because there are honey witches, and then there are the ash witches. And the honey witches are all about life and giving and healing and love and all that beautiful stuff, and the ash witches are the other side. They are the transformation, the completion, the ending. So they together make a full cycle. But the ash witch that was there wanted to live forever. She wanted immortality. So she was abusing her magic and shifting into darker magic in order to try to get immortality. And so she placed a curse upon the honey witches in the Claude family, who run Innisfree, which is this like magical, I don't know, like center point. It's on an island. For them to never be able to fall in love, and that for no one to ever be able to love them. And if someone were to love them, it would end in disaster and death. Marigold then is like, okay, well, I'm going to take over after my grandmother because she's the one who has the magic. And she's like, well, with that, I know it comes with the curse. I'll never have anyone fall in love with me. No one will ever want to be with me. Maybe I can have companionship. And then she goes and she meets one of her old friends. I think his name, August. His name is August. And then he has a friend named Lottie. And Lottie is this redhead, beautiful girl who's got like a sour disposition. And they go on an adventure. And I'll leave it at that. For spoilers, so if you're not interested in spoilers, skip this part. But for spoilers, August and Lottie come and stay with Marigold because she is trying to prove to Lottie that magic is real. She doesn't think that magic is real, although she lost her parents in a fire. She has sigils. She can see the spirits, stuff that she shouldn't be able to do unless she is some type of like mystical, magical creature. They go through this whole process of her trying to prove that magic is real. Marigold decides to do a soulmate spell for them. She makes one for August, makes one for Lottie, and then she gets invited to go see her sister again because her sister's getting married, and she goes to visit them. She leaves the Innisfree. Weird stuff has been happening there. Bad things have been happening. She's been seeing a will-o'-the-wisp light that's been coming up, and that's like a warning signal. And so they go back to Innisfree, and then they, have all of their interactions, and we get this lovely story between Marigold and Lottie and what plays out between the Ash Witches and the Honey Witch. So it was a good story. I really enjoyed it. Once I got past my blockages, it was great. So definitely would recommend if you enjoy stories about witches. My last one, physical text I'm going to talk about is Fledgling. I finished Octavia E. Butler's Fledgling. This is about Shori, who is a vampire, and she lost her memory, and she has to figure out who she is. When she wakes up, she is in a cave all by herself, badly injured and burned out. Her whole village where all of her family lived are all burned down. They're all gone and dead. She runs into this man, I think his name is William, I don't remember, and he picks her up. But the thing is that she looks to be about 10 to 11 years old. So there's that kind of weird dynamic that goes on between her and the people she eventually brings into like her group with her so that she can feed off of several different people. It's such a fascinating read. It is very much Octavia Butler. So if you know what her books are like and you know what she's about, then it definitely is one of her texts. And in finishing the canon of Octavia Butler works, I definitely think it is something that I would recommend that everyone read, because this is a matriarchy. It is where women have the majority of the power. It is one where you get to read about a young black woman who, 52 years old, is very young compared to her vampire counterparts, but as appears, similarly as a child in the world, as she comes across as only 10 to 11. So you kind of get to see this relationship between addiction and memory and power and race and class. It's a fascinating read. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the end when I was in the book club. Some of them didn't like the end. They felt like it wasn't full justice, but I thought it played out well, and I thought it was like the best outcome that we could possibly get. So that's it for all of the physical books. Let's get down to my Kindle Unlimited. I read The Word by Mary J. Thompson. This book is about a young woman. Her name is Lisa, but I think she goes by another name as well. And her dad is in this cult, basically. It is a very strict conservative Christian. They follow the Bible word by word. They interpret some things upon their own ideas about what it should mean. And men are the authority figures. Women are supposed to follow under men. Men are allowed to punish their wives and children, but it's supposed to be nothing that is physically abusive. But her dad is unhinged. When she's 7, her parents split up. Her mom wants to get out of the faith and she wants to go live a normal life. She goes and meets this other man, ends up starting to have an affair with him, gets pregnant, and then Lisa's father and her get into a kerfluffle. They get into a fight, and then her dad is kicked out. He's arrested. He gets kicked out, and then in the next month or so, he makes plans and he basically kidnaps Lisa. He gets her to go out of her window in the middle of the night, meet him in the street, and then they go and they live together until Lisa is 16, when she gets found out, when the CPS finds her and she has to return home. And so we meet Lisa where the police are there, the CPS is there, and they're like, hey, we are coming to take you back to your mother, because she has custody over Lisa, not the father, because, you know, he just got arrested for domestic violence. And so she's fully just indoctrinated into this belief system. This is, her father's been warning her about this. She has this brother, I believe named Carlos, who they found also because they've been homeless. They've been in and out of homelessness or experiencing being unhoused. They rarely have any money. So her father first snatched her up and convinced her to come with him. They went to this like compound for all the people of that faith, and they stayed there, and they had food, they had homes, they had, you know, supplies and resources. But the father is very extreme, and so he gets into this incident there and they get kicked out. Now, Lisa is very much so attached to one of the women there who they lived with and who is a teacher, who she feels encourages her and tells them, we will be blessed when we get to heaven. So she felt a little bit more empowered from her. But she has to leave when her father is kicked out, and that's when they end up starting to experience being unhoused. They live under a bridge, they're eating at food pantries and at shelters, and they meet Carlos, who is also an unhoused individual, and I think he's like maybe 17, 18 when they first meet him. And so he starts staying around them. He starts to listen to what the dad is saying. The dad does the whole preaching on the corners, start to steal things from other people, but they're like, they're not living according to the word. They're not going to be able to make it in heaven. Like they shouldn't have these things anyway, so it's not really stealing. The dad justifies it, and Carlos steals because that's what he does, and they, you know, teach her how to do it too. And so they have these whole plans about what happens if the police catch them or if something happens, and then eventually they end up getting in trouble. The dad gets arrested, and they end up moving to a house where Carlos knows that they can get some jobs without having to need like a lot of identification or background checks or things like that. But they're very, very strict with Lisa. She isn't allowed to wear pants. She has to wear her hair really long. She can't talk to men because it's improper. She can't have friends. And so we get a lot of this story around her isolation and like dealing with the times when in her head she's very rebellious, but if she is rebellious externally, she is abused by her father. And so we kind of see how this plays out with her. So she has the father and Carlos over here, and he's now her brother. And then she eventually, when she's 16, gets taken by CPS, returned to her mother, and she gets to have this lived experience of this contrast to what it was like living with them and what her life would be like, because they have a plan. She's supposed to go back. And so does she actually want to go back? She gets enrolled in school. She meets a boy. She starts to get in touch with a friend she made that she couldn't really have before. And now she wants to reach out to her again, but she's having all this internal conflict because for them, when you leave the religion, the word, then you are essentially dead. And so her mother has been like dead to her for those past 10 years. And so now like she's realized her mother is not dead, she's still here, but like they're supposed to go with the plan. And there is this very interesting kind of mystery. It's not a mystery, but it's this intriguing, like there's something going on here and it's a little wonky, but how does this play into that has to do with yogurt? And it was a fascinating read. It was frustrating because I was like, girl, wake up, stand up, get out of here. But she's 7 and she's been in this since she was born in this, and then her mom changed, and then her family broke apart, and then her dad was abusive, and then like she's trying to listen to her dad to be a good daughter, but she's having this conflict about her mom, and like why did her mom not come get her? But then her mom was looking for her, but her dad was, it's a very complex story, and I really appreciated that. And I really liked the ending. I thought it ended really well. And I love that she was able to find her path forward and be able to listen to that rebellious voice that would spring out from her and find a way to express herself and be herself. So I really enjoyed that one. And then my other Kindle book that I wanted to talk about was Just Our Luck, as a part of my Kindle challenge, summer reading challenge. Just Our Luck is by Denise Williams. I love this. It was super cute. It's a cute little romance book. It's about this young woman. Like Sybil Sweet is her name, and she is not the best. She is not the luckiest, but she holds on to this idea of luck, and she's working at this job and she's late, and then she's supposed to pick up these donuts from this donut shop, and she forgets the petty cash to pay for them, so she just takes the donuts and leaves a note, because the guy who runs the donut shop, who ends up being the guy that she's going to be in a relationship with in the book, he's in the back taking care of his dad or his grandfather, because his grandfather had a small accident, and he is in recovery for that. And so she ends up being late, goes through this disaster at her job, her temp job that she's working. She gets fired. And so once she gets fired, then she's like all sad and depressed. She meets with her friends. Of course, she has the friend group. It is a standard, romance book that's popular at this time. But I liked that the just my luck part is she goes and she buys a lottery ticket and she wins the lottery. So now she has all this money. What is she going to do with it? We know she doesn't have good money management skills. She doesn't have good time management skills. She's not very reliable. And that's kind of a theme that she feels really guilty about. She doesn't enjoy being seen that way, but she has such a hard time really being able to focus and follow through and keep up with things. And then the partner that she ends up meeting, Kieran, he's very reliable. He's like ultra reliable. He is ultra dependable. He's the oldest son, and his mother was on drugs, and they got taken away from her, him and his younger sister, and placed with their grandparents. And so while they were with their mother, he had to make sure that the bills were always getting paid, or they had some type of food, some type of shelter, that his little sister was going to be okay, that his mom was taken care of. So he's used to taking care of everybody else. He was in medical school till he dropped out so he could go take care of his grandfather and the donut shop that he owns. And so that's how they meet, is her getting the donuts, her eventually coming back to pay for the donuts with the money that she has, and not from the lottery money, but with the petty cash after she gets her wallet back. And then she has the lottery ticket with her, leaves it with him because they start hooking up, but then his little sister comes in and interrupts them. And so she leaves the lottery ticket as kind of like a, hey, sorry about all the stuff that happened. Sorry that I didn't pay for the donuts earlier. Here you go. But she's already signed it. And when you sign it, then it's yours. And so nobody else can claim it other than the person who has signed the lottery ticket. Well, it turns out it's a winning lottery ticket, as I mentioned. So now he goes and Kieran makes a video to say, hey, I met this girl, her name is Sybil, but I don't really know her last name or anything else about her. If you find her, you see her, you know her, hey, here's her winning lottery ticket. And he makes this, his sister gets him to make a really lovey-dovey video. And that is how he eventually gets back into contact with her. And so then they decide to do a ruse, like a fake dating ruse, to say, so that he can get more publicity, because they get a lot of people coming in after the video goes viral to try to find Sybil. And she's like, I can help you with the shop. She wants to pay him, he won't take the money, so she's like, let's work out this deal, and then you can be there's my cat, you can be my date for my sister's wedding, and then I can look more dependable and reliable because I have this relationship and I have this money now and all this great stuff. It's a super cute read. She's a little annoying, I'm gonna be real honest with you. Sybil is a little annoying. I'm like, girl, if you do not start getting you some tools so that you can get your stuff together, like, girl, get an alarm clock, get multiple alarms. I have books that need to get read, so I am not too concerned with, I've already put them to the side, and I've talked about them already in my video. So I'll hopefully do a couple of little reading vlogs. I might do some videos about what movies I've been watching, because I just rewatched the whole Alien franchise. I've watched and I have videos for those. I watched every Beauty and the Beast movie to do a comparison, because it has to do with the Venus Intensive, and so it's like the writing in the movies. I did go see Neja 2. That was fantastic, but I think I'm going to start tracking my movies that I'm watching as well, and talk about those when I do my weekly wrap up. So I might start doing movies and books together, just like my little entertainment, because we have to let our minds rest. We should be intellectual. We're not letting our brains rot or melt. We are keeping ourselves sharp and tight. But we also need to have some fun and relax and be creative. And that to me feels like balance. Like that to me, I know it's 185 insane, and that's why I'm really getting into all of these things, but the balance is the important thing to me that I'm really looking at, is how do I achieve professional goals and personal goals and make a really nice balance between those two things. And I feel like, to be honest with you all, that is like my life purpose, is to just find a way, I'm a Libra, to find the balance and the harmony between all the different aspects of my life. So those were my books that I finished in August, and I'll see y'all later. It's been fun. It's been real. Bye.